Hey guys, we're back at it again, and in this video we're focusing on the transom.
Your boom pineapple wine, your $1.50 all the time.
First thing first, let's lift up the transom so I don't be breaking my back whilst working on it. I'm just gonna drop the tongue in the front, put it on the ground, and bring up the butt. You just have to remember to put that back up so the rain don't sit in it. The next one of my main reasons for dealing with the transom is I want to get this drain tube in for these areas. They are coated with polyester. They do have epoxy for them, and I'll be doing that before I put in the tubes. But yeah, that's the next reason I want to get this transom done. I'm not sure whether you guys can see it on the camera, but if you can see that there's a huge gap in between here. I'm going to take the top part in and fair where I need to fair to get that even. So that's the first job right there. On the other side, it's not so bad. Just need to get rid of some of that old fairing compound, and we should be sitting flush. All right, so let's get started with that. All right, so we'll be starting off with, I'm not sure what to call this. I can't remember what's the name. I'll link it in the bio or the description. All right, that looks much better. To me, it looks like the top just needs to go in a little bit more, and we should be in good shape. I'm just removing excess fiberglass that I laid up when I re-glassed over the transom. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. I need to get a marker so I can mark which area I'm working on. A while back, I was able to grab the angle off of a neighbor's 17-foot Boston Whaler. And what I'm doing here is trying to make sure that that angle is consistent straight across the back of the transom on that top edge. What I would do is put the angle finder down. If it touches in the rear of that surface, I would mark the length of the distance that is touching. If it touches in the front, I would mark the length of the distance that is touching in the front. I would then sand away all of the marks, and once that's completed, I would repeat the process. This transom is being completely glassed over from the inside to the outside with continuous multiple layers of glass. What I'm doing here is not structural, it's just to get the angle of the top of the transom uniformed. I did a build up using Totalboat structural putty to create those edges and level off the top of the transom. As long as I don't sand through the glass, we should be all good. Here I'm just making sure the transom is level from left to right, making sure there are no huge valleys, dips, or irregularities with the surface of the transom. I know I won't be able to get it perfect, but I want the engine to sit on a nice flat surface. These older boats are notorious for having cracks in the gel coats, and this one is no different. What I'm doing here is just using my Dremel to widen and clean out all of the cracks, just so it'll accept and hold on to the fairing compound much better. This is what the transom looks like right now. It's mostly fed. Still a lot of spots are like around the edges around here. Needs to be fed in. Um, have to correct this corner right here. You can see it. It tapers in at the top, and it should come straight out, go straight up, come straight across, straight across. But I don't have any of my structural putty to really deal with that right now, so I'm gonna leave that as is and come back to that later once that supply comes in. You can see the top. It's mostly fed going straight across. Just need a little fairing just to get it nice and flat. But once I put the gel coat on that, that'll take care of any dips and little shallow pockets. You see the little spots here missing a little fairing, and that's just because when putting on the fairing, when you get that first pass on, it's really hard not to take it off on your second pass. So now that this is hard and cured, I'll come back and just fill in those little holes. And it's the same thing for all these little pockets, but most of these little pockets will be filled with the gel coat. I don't know if I said this on camera before, but I'm using the gel coat as a high build filler to fill in the little dimples and all that good stuff. Gel coat isn't too expensive, so I could just use that to fill in all the little slight cracks and all that stuff instead of grinding them out and filling them. Just fill them with the gel coat, sand and even make sure I get a nice flat surface, and then eventually once the whole boat is crack free and all the little nooks and crannies are filled with gel coat, I'll sand down everything to a nice even level, and then we'll actually finish the whole boat with paint. Certain spots didn't cure well, so I had to dig the fairing compound out of it in order to correct that issue. It's probably a little bit fairing compound that didn't get enough hardener. I didn't think this fairing compound was going to cure at all because it's pretty old. The previous weekend I did a test with the fairing compound just to see if it would harden properly and work properly. It did in most areas, but some areas were still uncured, and I believe that was just due to the hardener. So I've switched hardener. I got a new kit of hardener, and that seemed to do the trick. So the fairing compound still works, still cures hard, feels just like all the other areas that I used the fairing compound on.
I'm sorry for the bad camera angles in the upcoming clips. I can't seem to find the footage from my big camera. I only have what's on the GoPro. I should have dealt with this crack differently. If you look good in the video, I hesitated on filling it with the fairing compound. I should have made it wide enough to fill it with chop strand matting or even 1708. This crack needed fiberglass, not just fairing compound in it. I'm sure it will come back in the future, but I'll deal with it differently then.
Put the fairing compound pretty thick here in this section right here. I'm trying to fill a little dish right in there. I need to clear off some more of that. Yeah, all of this needs to sand back. This is where I put the fairing compound earlier. Build it up pretty thick. This is pretty easy to sand. This is Totalboat polyester fairing compound, so that's pretty easy to sand. I'm not worrying about that being too thick. I can always just sand it back to what I want. I prefer that than having to do it a million times. Could have used a little bit more on this. I feel like gel coat will fill that in though. So yeah, when you see it poke up high, I'll just knock it off with some sandpaper, especially when it's right on the corner. That's easy.
I'm pretty sure there'll be another round of fairing, but we'll leave that for another video.